Wow, you mean to say to me that 3,000 employees all go out to lunch at the same time, so every time somebody calls, there is nobody there to answer any questions? Fuck.
Public Affairs.
Ma'am, this is the 5th time I've called. Why do you keep putting me on hold and don't answer my questions?
I can't answer your questions. I don't have answers. Let me see if someone is available now. Hold on.
How long do I have to wait for that?
If their phone is busy.
I know that's a question, and I know it's difficult for you to answer, but
Well,
how long should I have to wait? Like, what could you envisage that I'm going to be waiting?
Would you like to send an email and then I can...
Well, if I could, I probably would. But in fact, I'm calling because this is a telephone call. And you know, a telephone call kind of relates to a person talking to a person. Do you remember what a telephone call is, ma'am? That is where a person talks to a person. Not an answering machine, not put on hold, not sent to another department. Can you relate to that? Hello? Hello? Oh, Jesus.
The person is on another phone call. Would you like to leave a message? I'm getting ready to hang up because I have something else to do.
What part of I would like to talk to somebody don't you get? Do they hire you for your intelligence, or are you just a monkey there to make coffee? I'd like to speak to a person. Thank you. I don't mind holding. Roughly how long am I going to wait?
Did you want me to put you through?
If there's somebody available there yet, that'd be nice, but I do not wish to talk to a voicemail, because that's not actually a person.
You can hold on then. Thank you.
I beg your pardon? Hello? Hello?
Reserve, how may I direct your call?
Yes, ma'am. I was hoping that you might be able to identify the person in press relations who's put me on hold, like for 6 times now, last time for 23 minutes. As a federal employee, are you able to actually identify this person?
Publications, may I help you?
Yes, ma'am. Is this the press release department?
This is publications. Were you looking for a particular press release, or you want to speak with public affairs?
Well, ma'am, I've called up public affairs for the last 6 times, and the last time I was put on hold for 23 minutes, I was hoping at least somebody can talk to me. I have a few questions about the bailout. Is it so hard to talk to a human being there at the Federal Reserve, considering there are 3,000 employees currently employed there?
Well, normally it's not, but you have there is publications, and we are the ones that send out the publications. However, I believe the public affairs is probably the office you want to speak to. Let me see if I can find a direct number to someone. Can you hold this for a second?
Well, ma'am, I've just been put through to there 6 times already. As I said, the last time I was put on hold for 23 minutes. They don't seem to be willing to answer very many questions. Are you able to identify the people who are actually working there in that office as federal employees? They're supposed to be identified. Are you able to do that?
Let me see. Hold on a second.
So whereabouts have I been put through to this time?
Right now, you would call publications. I'm trying to find a more direct number for you for public affairs.
I think it'd be probably much quicker if I called back. Thanks.
Good afternoon, Federal Reserve Board. Dennis speaking. How may I direct your call?
Yes, hello, Dennis. Could you please put me through to public affairs, please?
Sure, 1 second, please.
Affairs Office.
Yes, sir. As a federal representative of the U.S. government, can you please identify yourself?
Sure, my name is Jeff.
How's it going there, Jeff?
It's going okay. How is it going with you?
Fantastic, sir. I was hoping to speak to a human being. I have a few questions about the bailout.
Okay.
Is there anybody there who can answer some questions?
What? I can certainly try to help you, sir.
Is it true, yes or no, that Mr. Neil Kashkari has actually been handed the bailout money that George W. Bush himself has handed over to the federal administration?
Sir, are you a member of the public or are you a member of the media? May I ask you that question?
Well, neither, sir. I'm an independent researcher doing a bit of independent research on behalf of the American public. If you could, if there's anybody there that can answer these questions, I would like an answer, please.
I can certainly try to answer your questions and be as helpful as possible. Your first question, I'm going to have to defer to the Department of the Treasury.
So you can't answer that question?
Well, sir, you're asking about an assistant secretary at the Treasury, so I'm going to have to refer you to the Public Affairs Office over at the Department of the Treasury, and I'm happy to give you that phone number if you'd like.
Well, is it true, sir, yes or no, that $100 billion of this has been assigned to George W. Bush himself personally in this bailout?
Sir, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to help you with these questions. That's a question that I'm going to have to refer you to the Office of Public Affairs at the White House.
Okay, third question.
About the President. This is the Federal Reserve Board's Public Affairs Office.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm well aware of where I've called, and indeed, you people are the ones who have actually footed the bill for this bailout, so you should at least have some answers, and that's probably why I've been put on hold for the last 7 times that I've called, put on hold the last time for 23 minutes. With people who, with people, sir, Mr.
It wasn't. This is the first time you and I are speaking.
Mr. Jeff, I'm well aware that this is the first time we've talked because the last time I was put on hold for 23 minutes and nobody would take my call. In fact, I was transferred to a voicemail at least 3 times in those 7 that I tried to call your office. So
I apologize. I sincerely apologize. I would say the most effective. Well, I'll give you a. I can tell you that we receive comments from the public on a daily basis, and we do a summary of these comments and provide them to the chairman's office. And you will probably transfer to the voicemail system because that's how we gather all of these comments.
No, sir. I've been told that everybody. Excuse me, Jeff. Mr. Jeff, if I may interject.
The way that we can.
I've actually been told that everybody who can answer these questions is now out at lunch. Out of 3,000 staff that you have there at the Reserve Bank, that nobody can answer my questions because everybody's out at lunch. I've been told that. I actually been recording that every time that I've called, I've actually been recording for the American public to hear this, where their money is going to. And it's incredible that I cannot get a straight answer out of anybody. And you're going to refer me on to somebody else? This is fantastic. The last few people that I've talked to, I've asked them for their names, and I've been hung up on. I mean, are you guys actually hired by the American federal government, or are you not under the federal government wing at all?
Sir, I can tell you that the way that we compile comments for the chairman's office is through this voicemail system. I'm happy to transfer you to that system right now.
I'm not interested talking to a robot there, Jeff. I want to talk to human beings, actual people. That's why I'm calling and not actually calling on an email service. I'm actually calling up to talk to a human being and ask a few questions, as a human being would when they talk to somebody else. Do you understand the method of communication that has been going on for the last, how many thousands of years? I don't know. But that's what communication is all about.
Your frustration. Unfortunately, this is the best option I have to offer you at this point. As you would imagine, we have several phone calls coming in, and this is the system that's been set up. And unfortunately, this is the best we're able to offer you at this point.
So when I ask that I have a few questions,
recorded and transferred then onto the chairman's office, or. Unfortunately, I can refer you to that voicemail system, or I could refer you to our website.
So you're saying there, Mr. Jeff, as a Federal Reserve member, as somebody who's hired by the Federal Reserve, that when anybody has any questions, they're actually transferred to a voicemail system. Is that correct? Yes or no, sir?
Sir, that's not a valid question.
Click on part 3 now to hear the end of this conversation. Why do you keep putting me on hold and don't answer my questions?
I can't answer your questions. I don't have answers. Let me see if someone is available now. Hold on.
How long do I have to wait for that?
If their phone is busy.
I know that's a question, and I know it's difficult for you to answer. But
Well,
how long should I have to wait? Like, what could you envisage that I'm going to be waiting?
Would you like to send an email and then I can?
Well, if I could, I probably would. But in fact, I'm calling because this is a telephone call, and you know. Oh, Jesus.
The person is on another phone call. Would you like to leave a message? I'm getting ready to hang up because I have something else to do.
What part of I would like to talk to somebody? Wow, you mean to say to me that 3,000 employees all go out to lunch at the same time, so every time somebody calls, there is nobody there to answer any questions? Fuck.
Public affairs.
Ma'am, this is the 5th time I've called. Telephone call kind of relates to a person talking to a person. Do you remember what a telephone call is, ma'am? That is where a person talks to a person, not an answering machine, not put on hold, not sent to another department. Can you relate to that? Hello? Hello?